Good morning. I should say it's about love, love, love. That's what it's all about. 'Cause God loves me, we love each other, mother, father, sister, brother. Everybody scream and shout, 'cause that's what it's all about. I don't know how that song got stuck in my head this weekend. I guess we were talking about love Sunday morning in church, and that little camp ditty just kept ringing back there. I hope you're having a good morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning here in Arlington. The birds are at the feeder. Yes, I put the feeder back out. The birds are at it. They are happy. There are three nests close to the church. There's two on a couple lights and one on a drain pipe that I can see from here. So I get to watch the birds in the nest. It's really kind of fun around here. So I hope you're having a good morning watching your birds if that's what you do. Well, this weekend we did talk about love, the great command that Jesus gives to his disciples when he says, I command you a new commandment I give unto you, love one another. Even as I have loved you, you ought to love one another. So, what does it mean to love one another? Well, a lot of times it really comes down to saying, I'm sorry, I forgive you, and I love you. That's got a lot to do with showing love. Sometimes that's hard to do. We love to hang on to bitterness and resentment and perceived inequities in our lives, and sometimes love is probably one of the more challenging things to do. I want to share two quick stories about love. One is this gentleman who uh, is really trying to uh, ponder a way to secure the affections of this woman who is really paying him no attention. Just really even stopped talking to him. And he's decided to write her love letters. So he writes her a couple love letters a week. And this goes on for a long period of time. And finally, nothing after weeks and weeks and weeks. And so he ups it to one letter a day he writes, and weeks go by and nothing. And finally, he starts writing three letters a day and mailing them to her. And finally, she does relent and she marries the mailman. Sometimes our attempts at love just don't cut it. They just don't hit the mark. But there's another story that I found equally as fascinating. A young boy with some, well, let's just say personality deficits, who's always kind of an outsider, a little out of the group. Mom watches him walk home from school every day, and the whole group of kids is coming down the street, and they're all laughing and having a good time, and Charlie's just always behind them, just a few steps behind the group, not really a part of the group. And Charlie comes home one day and says, Mom, Valentine's Day is coming, and I want to make a Valentine for everyone in my class. She's a little disappointed. She says, I don't know if he's going to get any Valentines, if he writes all these Valentines, but she doesn't want to quell his enthusiasm. So she says, sure, we can make Valentines for everyone. And they buy paper and get glue, and he hand makes these Valentines for all of his classmates. And he works and works and works on it. For weeks, they're working on these. And finally, he takes his pile in hand and he goes to school that day, a bounce in his step. And mom's just praying all day that Charlie would be okay. And she plans when he comes home from school, she has a plate of fresh baked cookies and milk sitting on the table so she can comfort him because she knows he's probably going to come home kind of devastated from the day. And he goes to school and comes home, and pretty soon she looks, and here come all the kids down the street, and they're all in this group, and here's Charlie. He's still just a couple steps behind him, but he's grinning and smiling and walking with him, but he's not really with him. He's just kind of behind him, and the crowd leaves, and Charlie runs into the house, and she fully anticipates an embrace and tears. He held it together, and he comes in the kitchen, and she says, I got milk and cookies here for you. The cookies are fresh, they're still warm. And he yells, not a one, not a one, and heads up towards his room. And she knows She knows what happened, and so she starts up the steps, and she says, "Oh, Charlie." And he turns and grins at her and says, "Not a one, Mama. I didn't forget a single one." And with great excitement, he goes into his room. See, we always equate love with this receiving, but the reality is love is so much more in the giving than in the receiving. I I can't tell you how many mission trips I've been at, how many servant events, how many functions I have gone to as a worker to serve, and in the serving, in the giving, in the doing, I felt such love. Not because everyone was ooey gooey gushing back with thanks, but there's just something wonderful about serving other people. And and there's something wonderful about that look of joy on the face of someone you serve. That's the love being reciprocated back to you. So what are you doing today to show that you love someone? See, it's more than just words. We can leave church and say, "Yes, I say you are forgiven. I love you." We even practiced that yesterday in church. But there's something about once we walk out of those doors that make those words hard to say. You see, the call that God gives us to love one another, he doesn't give it in a vacuum. He gives it to us, and he says to the disciples, "As I have loved you." And we have seen love, as we have witnessed the love of God, we are then to love others. So he not only gives us the command to love, he then models that love for us. Then he gives us his spirit to enable us to love. Yeah, there's no excuse for not showing love to one another. God has done more than enough to demonstrate what that means. So go out and be loving today. Maybe that means sending a random note to someone, not 3 a day. We don't need the postman getting married, but maybe just a word of encouragement to someone. Maybe to someone that you maybe always haven't been the kindest to. It's okay. It's a good day. Doesn't even have to be Valentine's Day. It's it's Love Monday. There you go. Well, I'm enjoying some Highlander grog, Cameron's coffee this morning. Oh, there's a goldfinch at the feeder. Love seeing those guys. Well, you have a good day. Go love one another. And we'll see you next time we turn this camera on and enjoy some Cameron's coffee. See ya. Be blessed. Be nice.